That's right. Tyler has questions each and every day. If you miss it, you can grab it all on our brand new YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@WaddleandSylvie. One other note, I have not mentioned this. I have a happy hour event on Thursday. It is at a place in the Loop. It's called Slightly Toasted. It's in my old neighborhood. I used to live at Randolph and Canal. This is just like a block up and a block over it. Like, I believe this is at Madison and Clinton. So it's brought to you by Elijah Craig, Kentucky Straight Bourbon. It's right by the Ogilvy train station. It's Slightly Toasted this Thursday. The event's going to start at 5:30 with the Nissan Titan Street Team. Our show ends that day at 6. I'll be over there at about 6:15. We'll be giving away a twosome on the Great Clips Waddle and Sylvie team for our Grip It and Sip It Classic. This is a sold-out event. So you cannot get any more twosomes or foursomes to our golf outing. The only way to get into the golf outing is by attending my event at Slightly Toasted this Thursday starting at 5:30. So join us there, Elijah Craig, Kentucky Bourbon Straight Whiskey. So that should be fun right after the show. In the Loop, a Rare City event, Slightly Toasted with me. All right, Tyler, what do you got?
All right, we were just mentioning the F1 food prices before we went to break here. A little bit of guess prices right here. How much for a Maine lobster roll?
Oh, a Maine lobster roll. I'm going to go $35.
You're a little over 10% of the way there. $280 for a Maine lobster roll.
Get out of here.
Told you.
Get out of here.
I could not believe the food prices. I could not believe it when I saw this on social media.
Get out of here. Who's paying $200 plus for a Maine lobster roll?
How about some carne asada nachos?
Well, now you $125.
$180 for some carne asada nachos.
I get it. I know that F1 is a different stratosphere financially. I think that the drivers are some of the most highly compensated athletes in the world.
Well,
how could you do that?
Well, not just that though. This is for I think it's called the Hard Rock Club. You have to pay $1,000
to get
into this club first.
Geez.
Well, so once you're in there, like you've got so much money, like $180 for tacos isn't probably something that bothers you.
Really? Like, if you're that rich, did you get rich by paying $180 for tacos?
No, but you're not bothered by it once you are that rich.
How about if you want to add 1 ounce of caviar to any item?
$2,000.
All right, a little rich there. $400.
$400. Okay.
Give me like something more mainstream.
I've never had caviar. Have you ever had caviar?
I don't know if I have. I don't think I have.
I have not.
They're fish eggs, right?
Yes.
All right, a bucket of 16-ounce Miller Lights.
How many of them are?
There's 5 in a bucket.
$100.
$55.
Okay, so it's coming down.
This is what I thought. That's why when I read it, I thought when I saw the lobster roll prices and the nacho prices, I thought totally outlandish.
But the beers,
the beer is still very, very high, but in comparison with the food,
right.
I've seen higher.
I bet you for a 12-ounce beer up on the Cubs game tonight, you're paying $11, aren't you?
Oh, at least
more,
yeah.
probably like 13. Yeah.
Right.
All right, how about let's see, a bottle of Tito's.
So now the full bottle of Tito's.
Yeah, so
$2.50.
this is the bottle list. Yep.
$2.50.
You're probably paying $2.50 for a bottle of Tito's in any bar you go to these days. So you got to think higher than that.
Really?
Yeah. Like if you're going to a bar and you're getting bottle service, you're probably paying that anywhere you go.
Wow, that's crazy.
A bottle of I would think so.
It is $5.60.
Oh, get out. That's crazy.
So yeah, those were the prices for the weekend.
Would you rather pay? How much was it for a lobster roll?
I think it was $280.
Would you rather pay $280 for a lobster roll or $500 for a bottle of Tito's?
$500 for a bottle of Tito's. I get more out of the bottle.
That's what I'm saying.
We gotta ask Ryan Poles the next time he's on.
Yes, if he did this.
Yeah, what he ordered and how much it ran him.
That's probably why he's not eating much anymore. It's because he's hanging in all these exclusive clubs. because it's so damn expensive. He's going to the bird streets in L.A. where he got hooked up in, and now he's hanging out at these F1 races.
Ask him if
so
he's
expensive.
a partner in the honey business with his coach. Maybe there's a little extra cash coming in on the side.
All right. What else do you got?
All right. So yesterday, another great performance from Javier Assad. 6 scoreless innings for the Chicago Cubs. He has been one of the very, very bright spots to this rotation that has had a number of surprising performances this year. But where is Javier Assad on the list of biggest surprises for this Cubs season?
I still think Shota is even though that he was a free agent and even though he was good in Japan, the greatness so far has been simply off the charts. And I don't know if anyone knew he would be this great. And again, I don't know how long this is going to remain the case, but I think it starts with Shota. And that's the biggest surprise. And I think how bad the bullpen has been, especially in late innings, is second amongst big surprises. Who could have predicted how bad they are?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. I think Assad has been a surprise, but you saw signs that he was a good pitcher last year.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't think anybody would have predicted this kind of start in 7 starts. But, I mean, he's shown you that he's quality. I mean, what they've been able to do with their starting rotation, especially with some guys on the shelf, has been really impressive.
They've developed a lot of guys. They've all taken the next step.
This was actually from Bob Nightingale's article. He had like a little notebook today. There's been no bigger surprise among scouts this year than Cubs pitcher Shota Imanaga. So like,
good. I didn't know that. I agree with Nightingale.
Yeah, Shota's not just a Cubs surprise. He is a baseball surprise as well. Another little tidbit I picked up out of this notebook from Nightingale was him talking about Tommy Pham. He's their leading candidate to represent them in the All-Star game, despite really only being there for a week and change.
So weird.
But he's also probably a prime trade candidate now. He also puts in there the White Sox are expected to trade starters Eric Fetty, Chris Flexen, Mike Clevenger, reliever Michael Kopech, and designated hitter Eloy Jimenez. And it got me thinking, the Cubs obviously need to start with the bullpen before they make any moves. But would Eloy Jimenez be a good buy low target for the Chicago Cubs?
I scoffed at this.
No, I would not.
I scoffed at this in the pre-show. Go ahead. You can go first.
No, I wouldn't do it. I think that you have other guys that will come through your system that will be just fine as designated hitters, and that's all Eloy's going to be. Eloy had 120 games last year. He hit 18 home runs. I wouldn't do it.
Even though it's buy low. So let's go through it. So you have guys who could come up here with Canario, with Owen Casey, and others.
Matt Shaw.
And they may DH for you. I was going like with some of the outfielders because the outfield is pretty stacked right now because in left field you have Ian Happ. In center field you have Cody Bellinger. In right field you have Seiya. Tuchman has not lost anything. If anyone thought Tuchman for 1 year was just going to be good and that was it, he's been surprisingly good on base wise. He's been a godsend in Seiya's absence. So now all of a sudden he's your 4th outfielder. Anyone they bring up with these young guys who play outfield will be your DH. That's where they're lacking. They're lacking a DH. So a young guy who you bring up in your system will help you there. I'm not paying for a guy in any capacity, even buy low, in trading someone away who could break down at any moment.
I would think Morel's going to get some at-bats at DH quite a bit as well as the season rolls on. So I don't think you.
Right. Maybe you bring Shaw up if he starts hitting a little bit better and he plays more third for you down the stretch, and Morel DHs.
I understand why the question is asked, but you just can't. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
No.
And the answer to my own question would be no.
And I don't want to trade for Kopech either. I've seen this floated around. Like, he's too unreliable to me. I'm not trading for Kopech. There are too many other arms I'd rather trade for.
Yeah, like if you think Neris is a roller coaster, then you want no part of the Michael Kopech.
I don't want Kopech. I can't depend on Kopech. Not in a pennant race.
All right, for the first time since 2005, we have no LeBron, no Kevin Durant, and no Steph Curry in the semifinals of the conference playoffs here. Is the NBA in a good spot with its superstars for the future?
I think they are. Now, again, you're going to have to get used to not seeing or hearing some of those names, but I've enjoyed the NBA this year.
I know you have, but does Indiana and New York appeal to people outside of those two towns? We like Jalen Brunson,
right?
But is anyone tuning in to see that matchup outside of Indiana and New York?
Probably not in large numbers.
And
Halliburton is a fantastic. But look, you got to be an NBA fan to like some of these guys.
And
Anthony Edwards, I would think would appeal to all basketball fans.
That's why that series, in my opinion, is so important. That's why Denver, Minnesota is so important. But other than that, is there really anything going on in the NBA?
Well, if you look more future thinking, Wemby, you'd imagine, is a part of the playoff mix.
Right.
And I think that, Wemby and Ant feel like the future of this league.
I mean, the Thunder have some guys that you can cling to. Doncic is still a guy that to me is must-watch television. Jason Tatum is in that category as well. I mean, there are guys. Again, you're right. I mean, maybe the name, the name value isn't there, or you're not. But I think if you're a basketball fan, you're cool with what the young guys are.
And the problem with the Celtics is there's no team to really give them a run here. Like Cleveland and Boston is going to be boring. Like, is anyone tuning in for Cleveland and Cleveland and Boston?
Probably not. And you're probably, I
didn't tune in for Cleveland and Orlando, even though it went 7 games until game 7.
I think there's no question. For me, there's more intrigue in the Western Conference with the Thunder and the Mavs and then the T-Wolves and the Nugs, much more so than... If you like good old-fashioned, roll around on the ground, getting a knee burn, then you may watch the Pacers and the Knicks. It's old-school basketball.
No, yeah. I'll like it. It's definitely a fork in the road moment, though, for the NBA.
Yeah, remember, too, Giannis was out because of injury.
Sure.
There's still people, in my opinion, that...
The Heat are out. The Bucks are out. The Lakers are out. The Warriors are out. There are a lot of name brands who are out.
I will say there's been a ton of criticism about the comparisons to Anthony Edwards and Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. And yeah, it's largely silly, but I think it is good for drawing eyeballs to maybe people who have checked out of the NBA for a little bit and say, oh, there might be this second coming guy who could be this next great within the league.
Well, having him in Minnesota probably doesn't help the league's cause. It's not as high a profile spot, but look, I at some point you're going to have to turn the reins over to somebody else. LeBron can't play forever. Are you still? I got to be honest with you. There was nothing appealing for me to view the Phoenix Suns playing basketball. They just weren't
They never clicked.
Never. And it was never anything that I was like, God, I got to watch the Suns tonight. So I'd much rather watch the Timberwolves and the Nuggets versus the Suns playing anybody.
All right, Jesse is going to join us soon from Wrigley Field. Jed is speaking at Wrigley. We'll get you an update on what he's thinking.